let's look at a transition from side mount, leading us into mount. It's our basic knee slice through the chest area to go right into a nice mount position. So let's do it. All right, for this kind of transition from side mount to mount, I only really ever use this knee cut or knee slice through the middle if I have an underhook and I have really good head control. When I'm in this position, I like to grab a gable, and before I start cutting my knee across, I need to open the elbow. I just say it's like opening a door before I move. So I open, then my elbow is just gonna come a little higher. So when I start cutting my knee, I at least have some kind of frame in this area. So I have my gable grip, I have good head control, I have my underhook, and this can be done with a partial underhook, or best case is this. It's not always available, but either way, the movement's gonna be the same. So I grab, I open the door. Now at this point, what really makes this work is I'm gonna bring my forehead to the mat, and that's gonna put a lot of pressure on my partner's face, and it gets their head turning this way, which is super important because it makes my transition easier and it makes their escape, if they're going to bridge, more predictable, because they're only going to be able to bridge that way if they do anything panicky. So I'm here, I drive my shoulder, I start dropping my head. I want to make sure my elbow is up high. I put some pressure on my partner's face with the head control. I bring my knee up, and I like bringing it right to my tricep. And as soon as I'm here, I drop my knee, and I just flick my foot out. I sit back in the mount. So if we go back and do this one more time. So we're in this position, gable, open the door, cross face. I bring my head up, I drive my knee, and I flick my foot out, and I drop my butt right into mount. So if I do this a little quicker, so I'm in this position, open the door, head down, up, cut, and sit into position. Now at any point during this cut, if my partner decides to bridge me, remember you can use your elbow and your head and give me a little bridge to create a little bit of a frame to block the bridge. And you're going to cut right back in the mount anyways. All right, looking at another transition from side mount to mount. This one's called thread the needle, and it is a little more sneaky, so I'll give you a few tips throughout to make it work really well for you. So let's check it out. All right, normally when I look at using this transition to move me into mount position, it's when my partner is making it very difficult to get an underhook or really difficult to get a head control, like he's blocking my hand, keeping this away, making my life hard. So instead of fighting his efforts, I'm just gonna move around his arm. So my hand that's here, that was being used for head control, I'm basically gonna bring it up, and I wanna lay my armpit right over the lower forearm. And that's gonna prevent Vince from bridging me up over his head. So I sit here, and I lock my armpit to his forearm. My hand, I like grabbing the belt just so I can lock in this position. Now when I start switching my base and my hips start facing the legs, I need to make sure as I extend my body, I keep my weight on my partner as much as possible. And as much as it looks like my butt is on the ground, I'm actually floating maybe half an inch or an inch off of the ground so I can maintain my weight on my partner. Because if I sit on my butt, if Vince gives me a good bridge, I'm gonna fall over and lose my position. So I need to actively be on my toes, pushing my weight into the chest. Now to do the thread the needle, with my hand that's free, I'm always gonna look to go inside my leg, never on the outside. And my goal when I get this position is I'm gonna grab my baby toe. And from this position, I don't wanna feed my heel first over the legs. I wanna turn my foot and lead with my big toe. And I just cut through and over. And I don't let go of my foot until my foot has crossed the hip line. Once it crosses, I just bring my hips in and I keep my position really tight. So again, if we're here, I'm having trouble getting head control or the underhook. I want to be a little sneaky with my mount transition. So I'm going to switch my base. My armpit goes over the forearm. I grab the belt. As I switch my hips, I stay on my toes. My butt is low. My weight is on my partner. I do a little hip out to create some space. I'm going to grab to the inside of my leg. And I'm going to push. I'm just going to drive my foot through and over. And as soon as I'm in this position, I'm going to drive my heel into the butt. I'm going to keep my hips really close. I'm going to turn into the mount position. Now if I do this one from a different angle and a little quicker, we'll be right here. So I'm in this position, block, grab the belt, switch my base, keep my weight low, I grab, and I just cut through right into that. Try that one out, everybody. It's a sneaky one. Looking at a transition from side mount into mount, this one is a little different because it requires someone to roll away from me. So normally this will happen when someone wants to roll into a turtle guard and start defending from a position that isn't on their back and in side mount. But with this transition, it's a very strong transition. It's very, very hard to stop as long as your grips are in place correctly. So let's check it out. All right, so when I'm in side mount, if I know somebody's gonna roll away from me, like maybe they bridge and bump me to free this shoulder to create that roll away from me, something I always like to do to control the roll and start countering off of the roll is just hold this elbow. So even from a general side mount maintenance perspective, if I hold this elbow, if Vince tries to roll away from me, I can just hold this and pull him back. But in this case, I want him to roll away. So as he rolls, I'm just gonna maintain control on this elbow so I let him up. I'm gonna hold him in this position. Now once I'm here, my hand that was around the head, I'm gonna grab a pocket grip or a pistol grip. Pocket is normally easier, but I feel like a pistol grip, you can grab one depending on the tightness of the gi, can be really helpful in this position too. But once I grab this grip, I'm gonna pull it tight, and I'm gonna shelf my forearm on the tricep. That way I have both arms trapped. My body is behind Vince's, so I can keep him on his side. Now my next step with this free hand is to grab a pocket grip on the outside of the pants. Once I'm here, I'm gonna punch that leg down. And I wanna create a corkscrew effect where I'm just turning the body. So I'm pulling the upper body upwards and I'm pushing the lower body downwards. Now a common mistake with this move is people, as they step over into mount, they let go of this grip and they get caught in some kind of half guard in here. So you need to make sure for this move to become pretty hard to stop, we're gonna punch, I'm gonna pull, and as I step over my hand while I still have control of the leg. Once I'm here, I drive my heel into the hip. As soon as that is done, I can then release this grip, and right away, I'm gonna dominate that elbow again. This is gonna prevent my partner from rolling away. And it's really powerful to use both hands. So I'm gonna pull, and I'm gonna lift. I'm gonna drag my partner into mount position. All right, looking at another transition from side mount into mount. This time it's gonna get a little more crafty. You're gonna have to work on your timing, but it's a really good counter to when someone gets an underhook and you can't counter that underhook, so you have to move with it again. So let's do this one. We're in this position. So best case is someone gets an underhook and gets their side. Sometimes you can actually lean, post, and re-pommel into position. But depending on how quick this person moves and how strong they are, it can be a little harder to move down to the hips to kill that underhook. So we have to move with it instead. And I'm gonna do a few things that are a little subtle here. So I'm in this position. As Vince goes to get his underhook, as soon as he pummels his underhook, I'm actually gonna close my elbow and I'm gonna open his body up. But this is the part that requires a little bit of timing, so it's something you're gonna have to get used to and develop over a period of time. So as soon as that underhook happens, I pinch with my elbow, and I'm going to shift my weight to the head, to the base of my hand, and I open up the arm. From here, I do a step, and I wanna make sure I clear his legs, but I also bring my hips right into the armpit. If I just want to go to mount in this position, I reach to grab a pocket. So we switch this way here. I reach to grab a pocket right here, and I pull, and I sit into a mount position. And check that out again. We're here. As soon as they're on their side and they look to pommel, I'm going to pinch my elbow to close up some space on their forearm. I lean, I post, I open, and I step deep into the arm in this position. Once I'm here, if I want to go straight to mount, I'm going to reach. I'm going to pull with a pocket grip, that other grip up. I'm just going to sit right into a nice mount. All right, let's do a few more counters when somebody gets their underhook, and we use that underhook again to pull up their arm and step through, because there is a lot of really good stuff you can hit from this position, but again, it requires a little bit of timing and a little bit of practice. So I'll quickly run through some possibilities, just so you have some new ideas in your head from this position. So let's check out these alternate movements. So before we just looked at going in the mount, but from this position, that underhook happens. I'm gonna pinch, step, open, I'm gonna step up here. Now, depending on what your partner does, if Vince gets up on his bottom elbow to come up, I will lean over. If you get right up on your elbow, Vince, there we go. And I'll actually kick my foot through. And depending on what he does here, if he lets me drive him, I can turn into triangles and arm locks from this position. If Vince pushes me over, I'm just gonna move to a grounded triangle attack in this position too, which is a really nice attack. There's a few others you can look at and explore. So same entry, gets that underhook. You're gonna pull, post, drive your hips in here. Now another really good one that I like, because I love omoplatas, I feel it's just a very underutilized position and submission in jiu-jitsu, is once I'm in this position, I like to just turn this arm over. I'm gonna throw this leg over the head, and I just roll. And as I roll, Vince is gonna sit up. So you start moving right into an omoplata position here too. And that, again, creates more opportunities to attack. And last one. There's a bunch more too, but we have to stop this video at some point. So we get an underhook again, I post, I sit up. We can also, in this position, pinch our knees together and start isolating the shoulder. Now in this position, I can push the hand down, I can block the elbow, I can come here for a wrist lock. If I grab the wrist and I pull the elbow to my hip, I can turn into a kimura. And probably the most nasty submission here, I can step my leg over the head and I can start shifting my hips around for a nice arm lock here as well. So if the mount transition isn't working for you, try any of those attacks. It is well worth the time to start countering that underhook with some attacks of your own. So check them out.